Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. This is Tosif, and I'm back with a new live stream. The time right now is 11:56 p.m. Central Time. I'm in Wisconsin, Central Time. And so it's almost midnight, and I'm starting this live stream at the end of the day. Uh, and I'm waiting to see who else will be tuning in for this live stream. I know it's late, and you know I'm still hoping that our friends will be joining. Okay, hopefully our friends from Texas can tune in because we are going to be talking about Texas. All right, my friends, there is a Senate race in Texas. I'm talking about the US Senate race, and that is what we are going to be discussing. In particular, we will be talking about um, a particular Democrat, all right? Jasmine Crockett. Who has heard of Jasmine Crockett? Anyone? You can just have you heard of Jasmine Crockett? If you have not, you can just tell me. Evelyn is here. Evelyn, that's our friend from Las Vegas. And Evelyn greeted me with such kind words. You can see it in the live chat. Evelyn writes, "Good evening, Governor Anam." Thank you so very much, Evelyn. I don't know what to say. I just um I'm always I'm so grateful. I'm always so touched when I see uh so much of confidence that my friends have in me. So much of confidence and all the encouragement, all the good wishes. Um, I'm so happy. I'm so grateful, Evelyn. I don't know. Um, I don't know how to say thanks. I don't have the words to properly express my gratitude. But you know, all I'm gonna say is thank you, Evelyn. I appreciate what you say. Freshly is here. Hi, Freshly. That's our friend Jake from New York, and we got AC Cruz from Arizona, and we have Frank from Florida. So we have Nevada, we have Florida, we have New York, we have Arizona. Anyone else? Any other friends or any new viewers? Anyone who's here for the first time and you somehow came across this video and you're trying to figure out what this is about, well, don't leave. Don't leave. This channel is about social and political issues, both domestic and international. And today we're going to be discussing the Senate race in Texas. Do we have friends from Texas? I think, Evelyn, you said you were born in Texas. All right. Okay, wonderful. Evelyn was born in Texas. Now Evelyn lives in Nevada. But anyone who is living in Texas right now, tell me, if you live in Texas, I hope you'll participate in the live chat and let us know. My friends, the Texas Senate race is a very high profile one. It really is. I mean, out of the 50 states in the United States, okay, depending on how you look at things, if I ask you what is the one state that really stands out of all the 50 states, depending on what your political beliefs are, depending on your ideology, depending on, you know, um, where you live, you might name your own state wherever you live, or you might say California just because it's beautiful, it's big, there's Hollywood, the weather is nice. You might say Florida. Florida gets a lot of attention, but you know what? There's one state that just really stands out. Okay, and I'm not gonna I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna let my personal The fact that I live in Wisconsin, I love Wisconsin. This is my favorite state, undoubtedly, which is why I live here. When I came to the US, I had the option of going anywhere, any city, any state, and I chose Wisconsin. So I definitely love Wisconsin. But I'm gonna step out of my own personal thoughts, and I'm going to look at the larger picture. And I can confidently tell you, when people look at the United States, and when we Americans, we look at the whole picture of the United States, and we think of one state that just stands out. It's really Texas. It really is. I mean, Texas is special. Now, I don't live in Texas. That's not my home. I live in Wisconsin, and this is the number one state for me. I love Wisconsin. I'm a Wisconsinite. But I understand, I recognize the position that Texas has in US politics, in the world of business. A lot of businesses, key businesses, are in Texas. Texas has lots of natural resources, so we rely on Texas. And Texas is it's just a wonderful state. Armani is here. Armani is writing that Armani is joined from Houston. So we got a Texan right here. Armani Chaudhary joining from Houston. Welcome, Armani. Good to see you. Good to see your name pop up again. It's good to see people coming back to these live streams. I know we kind of slowed down for a while, but now we're back. So yeah, Texas really stands out. And so when we talk about the U.S. Senate race in Texas, one that is coming up in 2026 November, it's a very high-profile one. The whole country is going to be watching, no matter where you are. If you pay attention to politics, all right, which I believe everyone who's watching you do. That's why you are here. That's why you are listening to this commentary. That's why you're participating in the live chat. That's why you're spending time with us here. If you pay attention to politics, if you keep track of the different electoral races, if you keep track of, like, okay, who's winning, majority in what chamber of Congress, then you are going to be watching the results of the Texas Senate race in 2026 November. Election night next year, whether you are in New York or in Seattle or in Miami or in San Diego or somewhere in between, you are in Nebraska, you're in Illinois, you are in Utah, in Wisconsin, wherever you are, if you have any interest in politics and election and government, you are going to be watching the results come in, the results of the midterm election in November 2026, and you are going to be looking for the results coming in from Texas. It's going to be a super high-profile race. Yes, it will be, because it's Texas. And also, let me tell you, my friends, this time, things are a little different. Things are a little different, and I'll let you draw your own conclusion regarding whether you like what's happening or you don't like what's happening. But I'm just gonna share with you what's going on. Okay, there's a heated primary right now between two Republicans. When we talk about Texas, we assume that we're going to have a nominee, a strong candidate that everyone's going to support, a Republican, and the Republican is going to run against, whoever the Democrats pick, and the Republican's going to win. There's going to be a lot of unity. There's going to be a lot of enthusiasm, energy, high voter turnout. Everyone's going to go out and vote, and overwhelmingly, we are going to elect or re-elect a Republican for a statewide race in Texas. That's what we think. But this time, things are different. We have an incumbent Senator John Cornyn. He's been in politics for a very long time. John Cornyn. We have John Cornyn running for re-election for U.S. Senate in Texas, but he has a challenger. And it's not just, any challenger. It's a high-profile challenger. We got Ken Paxton. Ken Paxton, a name that you all know. We got Ken Paxton challenging John Cornyn in a primary for U.S. Senate. So we got Republicans having to decide who they want to see on the ballot in November. It's different this time. Ken Paxton is the Texas Attorney General. So you got the incumbent U.S. Senator running for re-election, Republican. And then you got Attorney General Ken Paxton running against John Cornyn in a primary. Things are heated. Yes, they are. Tenacious is here. Tenacious, so good to see you. That's Tenacious J. And I believe, Tenacious, correct me if I'm wrong, I guess the name is Jeannie, right? Jean or Jeannie? Am I correct? Tenacious? I could just call you Tenacious. Or if you want me to call you Jean or Jeannie, whatever name you go by, I could call. Which one do you prefer? Jean or Jeannie? That's what we're going to call you, Tenacious. Tenacious says, call me Jeannie. We're going to call you Jeannie. Everyone, say hello to our friend Jeannie. And I believe Jeannie is joining from New York. Right, Jeannie? Joining from New York? I think I saw that you're from New York. If I'm mistaken, I'm sorry. All right. So, all right. Evelyn is saying, hi, Jeannie. All right. Yes, Jeannie is from New York. All right, Jeannie. Welcome. Thanks for being here. So, I was talking about how heated this primary is. I mean, before we even get to the general election, the Republicans in Texas, you got a primary to worry about. Who are you going to pick? Are you going to pick Mr. Cornyn or Mr. Paxton? You gotta make a decision. And let me just tell you, I'm going to share. See, it's always my goal to share with you my honest thoughts, whatever I have in my mind. All right. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I'm not going to spin anything. I'm just gonna share with you whatever is going on in my mind. All right. My honest thoughts. A primary battle on the Republican side in Texas is not helpful. It is not helpful. Okay. What it does is that it splits up the Republicans. Now the Republicans are stuck in a battle because they have to decide who they want. Ken Paxton or John Cornyn. And then at the end of the day, whoever wins, all right, Paxton wins, there's going to be a lot of unhappy people on the Republican side. Cornyn wins, there still will be a lot of unhappy Republicans. You know why? Because it's Republican versus Republican, and both high profile. So whoever wins the primary, there will be a lot of unhappy Republican voters. And then many of them may lose the motivation to vote in the general election. And that is the problem. I've seen that happen in Wisconsin. Anytime you have a heated Republican primary, and maybe there are two primary candidates running, maybe three, and whoever wins, the voters who supported the other candidate who lost, they lose motivation. It does happen. We've seen it in Wisconsin. So if John Cornyn wins, then those who supported Paxton in the primary would not want to vote for Cornyn in the general. It can happen. And if Paxton wins, then the Cornyn supporters wouldn't want to vote for um, Paxton in the general. So you see what I'm trying to say. I hope it makes sense. If Cornyn wins the primary, then all those who supported Mr. Paxton in the primary, now they are unhappy because Paxton did not win. And they may feel less inclined to go and vote for Cornyn and vice versa. Okay? My friends, this is not a Republican primary for a seat that is currently held by a Democrat. If you have a statewide elected official who's a Democrat and that Democrat is up for re-election, then a primary on the Republican side is fine because the Republicans have to, battle it out. They have to fight and they have to compete and they have to let the voters decide who the winner will be in the primary, and the voters, they speak, and whoever wins, that person goes on to run against the incumbent Democrat. But here it's different. Here, the incumbent is a Republican, and that Republican is being primaried by another Republican, and it is happening in a state like Texas. So I'm not saying that Ken Paxton shouldn't run in the primary. I'm not asking Ken Paxton to drop out. I'm not saying, Ken, why are you running? Support Cornyn and let him win. I'm not saying that. I'm not picking a side here. I'm not saying who I think should win. I'll stay out of that. The voters of Texas get to decide that. But you have to understand the consequences of the actions that the candidates take in an election cycle. We got a statewide Republican U.S. Senator running for re-election, and he's being primaried by another Republican who's also very high profile. Matthew Gonzalez is here. Matthew, good to see you. Good to see you, Matthew. Thanks for being here. So, my friends, I don't want to see the Republicans lose this Senate seat. My singular focus is that the Republicans will have to hold on to the Senate seat in Texas. We cannot lose Texas. We cannot lose a gubernatorial race in Texas. We cannot lose any Senate race in Texas. We just cannot lose a statewide race in Texas. I don't care who wins. Ken Paxton, if he wins, good luck. If John Cornyn wins the primary, good luck. I want to see a Republican win that Senate race. That's it. John Cornyn wins, great. Ken Paxton wins, great. I want to see eventually, when we get to November 2026 election night, when the results are coming in, I want to see a Republican victory in Texas. I want the Republicans to hold on to that Senate seat. We have it right now, and we cannot lose it. Do you agree with me, my friends? Tell me. Write in the live chat if you agree with me. Share with me your thoughts. Tell me, Tosif, you sound right. Whatever you're saying makes sense. Yeah, we agree. Or you can say, Tosif, you know what? You have no clue what you're talking about. I don't agree with you. And if that's the case, well, share with me what your thoughts are. Tell me, what is it that you think should happen? I think the Republicans, no matter who wins the primary, must come together eventually and unite and support the nominee. Support the primary winner for the general. My friends, if we lose a Senate seat in Texas, and I don't want to think about it. The fact that I'm having to even talk about that remote possibility, it just bothers me. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to utter that possibility, even if it's just a hypothetical. I don't want to talk about it. I mean, it just gives me a lot of pain just to even say if we lose a Senate seat in Texas. I mean, even the thought is scary. We cannot lose a Senate seat in Texas. If we lose a Senate seat in Texas, it's not going to be just a Senate loss, a Senate seat loss. It'll be a symbolic loss because we can never allow a statewide loss in a state as red as Texas. My friends, do you agree with me? Share with me your thoughts in the live chat, my friends. We got the live chat window. If you're not participating in the live chat, what are you doing? Yes, some of you may be just listening to me. That's great. If you tune in and you listen to me and that's all you do, you don't participate. All right, I get it. But you know what? I still encourage you to please participate in the live chat. Armani has a very, very positive, optimistic message, and I love it. Armani writes, I live here. Texas is heavily Republican, not going to change. Awesome. That's what I want to hear. I like that confidence. I like that optimism that Texas is not going to change. It is heavily Republican. It's going to stay heavily Republican. I love it. See, this is what I'm talking about. Optimism. That's what we need. I always highlight that. Always. You can go back and listen to a lot of my previous, episodes and live streams, and you'll see I talk about optimism. And I like that optimism, Armani. I got to tell you, thank you so very much. And it means a lot because, as you mentioned, you are in Texas. So it's good to get some optimism from Texas. Because I told you, we cannot lose the Senate seat. And if we do, people's confidence will be shattered. The Republicans' confidence will be shattered. If we lose this Texas Senate seat, we cannot afford a statewide loss in Texas. We just can't. And the Democrats, what have they been trying to do? You know that, right? The Democrats have been trying to defeat the Republicans in Texas for a long time. I'm just going to give you a quick recap. I'm not going to go into details, but do you remember Beto O'Rourke? Who remembers a guy named Beto O'Rourke? Anyone? Did you forget about the guy? Are you going to tell me you never heard of Beto O'Rourke? Never heard that name? Beto O'Rourke? Remember who is Beto O'Rourke? Who can tell me? Kay Cooper is here from Texas. Kay, so good to see you. That's our friend from Texas, and we are talking about Texas. Beto O'Rourke. What a strange candidate he was, right? Wasn't he strange? Like the way he stood on stage and his movement and everything. It's kind of strange, right? Beto O'Rourke, Democrat. That's all you need to know. Democrat Beto O'Rourke tried really hard to secure a statewide Democrat victory in Texas, but he failed. Beto O'Rourke, I remember all the energy that the Democrats had, like Beto's gonna win, Beto's gonna win. Well, Beto lost. Beto did not win. Beto O'Rourke tried so hard and lost. I was so happy. I was so happy when Beto O'Rourke lost. It was like, yeah, you Democrat, you think you're going to win in Texas? No, Beto, you just lost. Beto O'Rourke did not win. Now, there's another name that has come up. Jasmine Crockett. We've talked about Jasmine Crockett before, right? Didn't we talk about Jasmine Crockett? You know who Jasmine Crockett is, right? Jasmine Crockett. It seems that her name is popping up. It seems that the Democrats are trying to figure out who to select for as the Democrat candidate for Senate in Texas. And it seems to me that people are sort of drifting towards Jasmine Crockett. It seems like there are folks out there who may be favoring Jasmine Crockett, who may be saying, oh, Jasmine Crockett's the one. She can run for Senate. Jasmine Crockett, believe it or not, she may end up running for Senate in Texas, U.S. Senate. That's what I'm talking about. She may end up running for U.S. Senate in Texas. At least it seems that there are people who would like her to run. And what kind of a candidate is she going to be? Jasmine Crockett. Have you ever heard any interview that she did? If you just listen to one interview for maybe 5 minutes, any Jasmine Crockett interview, then you probably know what kind of a politician she is. Do you know what kind of a politician Jasmine Crockett is? She's the kind of politician that you don't want to see in the U.S. Senate, you know? Yeah, you don't want to see a politician like Jasmine Crockett in the U.S. Senate. For years, the Democrats have been trying to capture the Senate seats in Texas. Beto O'Rourke lost. If you wanna applaud, if you think an applause is necessary, even after all these years, I mean, it's been a while since Beto O'Rourke lost. But every time I think about Beto O'Rourke losing, I just want to clap. Like, I'm still happy after all these years. So Beto O'Rourke tried, he lost, and then Colin Allred. Want to talk about Colin Allred? This guy also ran, and he lost. Colin Allred lost. And others. And the Democrats, they tried to capture the governor's seat also in Texas, but they failed. So the Democrats failed in the gubernatorial election. The Democrats failed in the U.S. Senate races in Texas. And now they may be trying to capture a Senate seat in 2026 with a different candidate. And some are saying, oh, it's got to be Jasmine Crockett. Now, if Jasmine Crockett is the Democrats' candidate for Senate in Texas, then I'm going to say that the Democrats have not learned anything from their past losses and even the recent losses. They have not learned anything. They have not learned if the Democrats, if they favor and they push Jasmine Crockett to the front of the line and she becomes the front runner and she becomes the eventual nominee for US Senate from the Democrat Party, then I'm going to tell you, as I said just a moment ago, the Democrats have not learned anything from their past losses. When you hear some of the things that Jasmine Crockett says, you got to wonder if she is fit to serve in Congress. Yeah. Somebody with the kind of policy proposals that she has, how did she get elected? How did she get elected? How did Jasmine Crockett get elected in Texas in that congressional district? Can you tell me how? When you hear some of the things that she says, some of the things that she supports, you're not going to believe it. And she used profanity in the past. You know that, right? The kind of language that you wouldn't want your little kids to hear. I mean, she used profanity in the past. I'm not citing examples here, okay? Because I don't want to repeat the things that she said, but she used profanity. But that's not all. Talking about policy ideas and proposals, she doesn't have any good ones. No good policy, no good idea. And I'm going to discuss a few. My friends. By the way, um, if you are tuning in, please make sure that you're subscribing, okay? If you are tuning in, please make sure that you're subscribing. And it's so important that you subscribe because we are trying to grow as a community, okay? We're trying to grow, and so please subscribe. Um, please subscribe, all right? I would appreciate that very much. And if you subscribe, you're able to participate in the live chat, which is in subscriber only mode right now. So Jasmine Crockett, she's pro-abortion. She's pro-abortion. By the way, I want to do a quick poll here, okay? Are you pro-life or pro-abortion? Are you pro-life or pro-abortion? Let's do a poll. Write in the live chat window. If you are pro-life, please write pro-life. I'm going to write it. Okay? Write pro-life, just as I did, if you're pro-life. And if you are pro-abortion, if you support abortion, if you want to see more abortion, if you facilitate abortion, then you write pro-abortion. I am pro-life. Clearly pro-life. Always pro-life. Always will be pro-life. That's me. That's me, Tossifanam, always pro-life. And Jasmine Crockett, she's pro-abortion. My friends, if you are a person with a conscience, if you have the sense of right and wrong, if you know what is right, what is wrong, and you understand the difference between right and wrong, if you understand the difference between good and bad, you cannot be pro-abortion. If you know what is good, if you know what is bad, if you have a conscience, you know what is right, you know what is wrong, you cannot be pro abortion. You got to be pro life. Freshly from New York is writing pro life all the way. Kay Cooper is pro life. AC Cruz is pro life. Thank you so very much. Evelyn, our friend from Vegas, is pro life. Armani from Houston is pro life. I am pro life and I always will be. And Jasmine Crockett is pro abortion. If you ask her, she's probably going to say, like the Dems do, all the Democrats, they say, oh, I'm pro choice. What it means is pro abortion. They say pro choice, but in an abortion, who's making the choice? Is the unborn child able to make a choice? That's a human being. You know, the Democrats say pro choice. Oh, we're pro choice. We believe in reproductive rights and all that. If you are pro choice, think about the unborn child. Does the unborn child get to choose? Does the unborn child get to make a decision? Does the unborn child get to say, I want to live? I want to be born. I want to experience life. I want to explore the opportunities. I want to see God's beautiful earth. I want to look at the sky. I want to explore space. I want to read history. I want to understand human civilization. Does the unborn child get to have a say? Does the unborn child get to have a say? When the Democrats say, oh, we're pro choice, what about the choice of the unborn child? It's a child, unborn, but a child. And that's why I am pro life. I believe in life. Pro life, my friends. We always will be. No matter what faith you follow, no matter what God you worship, no matter what religious book you read, if you have faith in the creator who created all of mankind, the creator who created this universe, if you believe in a creator, if you believe in a higher power, no matter what faith you follow, no matter what religion, if you believe in a higher power, you have to be pro life. You have to be pro life. Jasmine Crockett is also an advocate of this so called green energy. Green energy. It's right there on her official House of Representatives website. She writes that she wants to expand upon green energy achievements. Wow. I mean, how cool does it sound? Oh, Jasmine Crockett, here you go. You have a Democrat from Texas, and she wants to expand upon green energy achievement. It just tries to present to you the words in a way that you think of, oh, there must be so many green energy achievements, and here you have Jasmine Crockett, and she wants to expand upon the green energy achievements. My friends, there's no green energy achievement. Okay. What has this so-called green energy achieved? Nothing. A, Srivastava is asking me, how are you, Tosif? I'm doing well. Thank you. Thank you for asking. I'm doing well. As you can tell, I'm a little um I don't know what the right word is. I'm thinking a lot about this US Senate race in Texas, all right? And yeah. So my friends, what has green energy achieved? Right here in Wisconsin, we have these really ugly objects. If you go to Southwest Wisconsin, there's a certain highway that you drive on, and you're going to see when you look out and see the countryside, you see the corn and the fields and the grass and the trees and the sky and the horizon. It's all beautiful, except that there are some really ugly objects that you'll find. You know what those are? Those ugly objects that I talk about. And those are not small objects, those are giant objects. And the middle of this beautiful scenery, you got the highway, you got the green, the grass and the corn and the trees and everything. It's so beautiful. You can see the cows, you can see cute little houses and the beautiful blue sky and the clouds floating. And as you are enjoying the view of beautiful Southwest Wisconsin, in the distance, you're going to see some ugly objects, and those are called wind turbines. Wind turbines. Have you seen them? I talked about these things in the past. Super ugly. That's my personal opinion as an American, as a Wisconsinite, as somebody who loves the Wisconsin countryside, as somebody who drives in the Wisconsin countryside. I do not like those wind turbines. Super ugly. All right. Okay. And you don't have to agree with me. If you think Tosif, you know what? You are so wrong. Those wind turbines are the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. I've never seen anything as beautiful as the wind turbines. If that's what you think, if that's your viewpoint, that's your viewpoint. All right. You're entitled to your views. All right. I'm not going to argue with you. If you say, Tosif, those wind turbines are awesome, those are the most amazing things I've ever seen, I think those are super ugly. Okay, those wind turbines. So this green energy, by the way, are there wind turbines in Texas? Can my friends in Texas tell me, are there wind turbines? Do you have wind turbines, my friends, in Texas? Let me know. I'll wait for someone to answer. Do you have wind turbines in Texas? Let me know, my friends. If not, that's fine. K. Cooper, our friend from Texas, is writing yes. All right, so you have those wind turbines in Texas, huh? I don't like them. Charisse is here. Hello, Charisse. Good to see you. Um, Armani is saying very few. Okay, very few. Charisse, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Okay, Armani is saying very few. And K. Cooper also confirmed that there are wind turbines in Texas. Uh, yeah. Jasmine Crockett. believes in green energy. As I said, green energy. That's what she believes in. All right. And you know what else Jasmine Crockett is trying to do? She's trying to fight climate change. Climate change, yeah. Every time you mention climate change, it seems that the liberals are just going into full panic mode. Every time you mention climate change, your Democrat friends are going to go into full panic mode because you know what they think? When you mention climate change, the Democrats think, oh, the world is coming to an end because of climate change. Climate change, the world's coming to an end. The sea level is rising, ice is melting, it's super hot or it's super cold. I don't know what it is, honestly. I used to think that it was global warming, that everything's going to be warm, the ice is going to melt and the polar bears are going to be in trouble and the penguins have nowhere to go, all that. That's what I used to think, like, it's all global warming. But now they call it climate change. They kind of moved away from that warming thing because they see, oh, the winters are super cold. It's not warm. So now they change, like, oh, it's extreme temperature. And every time there's like wildfire in Canada, because Canada cannot manage their forests, Canada cannot manage their land. Every time there's like wildfire in Canada, and we suffer, right? I mean, we suffer because the Canadian wildfire smoke comes to the US and we suffer. Folks in New York suffer. Folks in the Midwest, we suffer too. There's like air quality alert. So every time there's a messy wildfire in Canada, all these environmental activists, they're going to raise alarm and they're going to say, "Oh, this is climate change. This is climate change. The world is coming to an end." Canada, they just don't know how to manage their land. They don't know how to manage their forests. I mean, that's really what it is. Canada is just failing. Okay? And then there's a wildfire and it grows and we suffer because we got all the smoke. So on a beautiful summer afternoon, I might not be able to go out, or maybe I'll go out, but there are a lot of other people who may not be able to go out because there's that air quality alert because of the Canadian wildfire. So we're supposed to like stay inside, turn on the AC and not be able to go out and enjoy the sun because we got smoke from the Canadian wildfire. And all these environmentalists, they go crazy. They're like, oh, the world is coming to an end. This is how it's gonna end. There's gonna be wildfire. There'll be like these massive tornadoes, and there's gonna be tsunami, and there's gonna be, I don't know, volcanic eruption, whatever. What else? Earthquakes. Oh, there's earthquakes. First they said, oh, it's gonna be global warming, and then say, oh, then it's not really warming. The word doesn't, fit the narrative anymore. Now it's change. Climate change. Every time you mention climate change, just see what the Democrats do. The world's coming to an end. So Jasmine Crockett believes that climate change is an existential crisis. Do you believe, my friends, I'm asking you right now, do you believe that climate change is an existential crisis? Is it an existential crisis? I mean, there's an easy way for you to arrive at the answer. If you don't know, let me guide you. All right, I'm gonna guide you here. Just ask yourself before you go to bed at night. Do you think of climate change? You think of climate change like, oh my God, the climate's changing, the world's ending. I can't sleep. I'm going to have nightmares. Is that how you feel? You know what I think of when I go to bed? I'm thinking, oh, what bills am I going to have to pay tomorrow? That's what I think. That's what I think. What bill is due? Is it my phone bill? Is it my heating bill? Which one's due and how much is it? All right, okay. How am I gonna how much am I gonna have to pay tomorrow? Or if I, when I have work on a weekday, I'm like thinking, okay, what meeting do I have in the morning? What meeting do I have in the afternoon? Where am I gonna go? What does my schedule look like tomorrow? I don't go to bed at night thinking, oh my God, the world's coming to an end. No. The sky is not falling. Kay Cooper, right? Kay Cooper is saying the Dems say the sky is falling. That's right. That's what the Dems say. And we say, you know what? The sky is just fine. Just look at the sky. It's beautiful. Whether it's a cloudy sky or it's a clear day and the sun is shining, it's just beautiful. God's creation. I don't, after I'm done with this live stream, I may be up for a while because I'm still drinking tea. It's cold now because it was sitting here for more than 50 minutes because I've been doing this live stream for 52 minutes. When I go to bed, I'm going to be thinking about what I have to do in the morning. I'm going to be thinking about the work that I have to do. I'm going to be thinking about, other things. Maybe I'll think about the weekend. Like, all right, the weekend's coming. What am I going to do? I'll think about what bills am I going to have to pay? All right. Is there a bill due tomorrow? Okay. What am I going Okay. Which one is it? The heating bill or the phone bill or whatever. Yeah. Al Gore. I remember Al Gore. Yeah. Al Gore. Evelyn, shall I start talking about Al Gore? That would be a 15-minute easily just rant talking about Al Gore. I haven't done that in a while. I'm not gonna do that. Not gonna start talking about Al Gore. A viewer is asking, do you by chance live in Canada? No, I don't live in Canada. I'm not too far from Canada because I'm in Wisconsin. All right, so sort of close to Canada, but no, I don't live in Canada. I'm a proud American. I live in a country called the United States of America, the most powerful country in the world. All right, that's where I live. United States of America, USA, the greatest country in the history of mankind, the United States. That's where I live. That's my home. I'm in Wisconsin. So, Jasmine Crockett believes that climate change is an existential crisis. It's not. The first thing you think of after you wake up in the morning, it's not like, oh my God, the climate's changing. The world's going to end. No, we look forward to better and brighter days. But Jasmine Crockett, I mean, this person believes that climate change is an existential threat. Um, and you know what, Jasmine Crockett, and this is written on her website, on her house website. Jasmine Crockett wants to lead the charge in electrification. What does that mean? She wants to lead the charge in electrification. Okay, she wants to promote electrification. That's great. You know what? There's something that I really love. You know what it's called? Do you know what I really love? I love electricity. I love electricity. The phone that I'm using for this live stream, it was charged using electricity. My laptop here is on. It's connected to an electric outlet through a cable, through an adapter, through the charger. Electricity. We need it every single day, every single hour. We love electricity. So Jasmine Crockett wants to promote electrification. Great. Now, Jasmine should know this. Jasmine, Congresswoman Crockett, she should know this. That in order to produce electricity, you have to heavily rely on fossil fuels because you know what? Electricity requires fossil fuels. In order to produce electricity, our country relies heavily on fossil fuels. So if Jasmine Crockett wants to lead the charge in electrification, then she should say, thank God we have fossil fuels. Really, she should thank fossil fuels. Jasmine Crockett also wants to eliminate student loan debt. Shall we talk about that? Jasmine Crockett. She wants to eliminate student loan debt, all right? Okay, but how? How exactly? If if Jasmine means that the students must pay back the money that they borrowed as student loan, that would be reasonable. If you borrow money for education, if you have student loan, then you have to pay it back. And when Jasmine Crockett says that she wants to eliminate student loan debt, if that means that, hey, students, you got to pay back the loan, of course, you can have different terms. You can pay it off quickly. You can pay it off over a much longer period of time, whatever it may be, whatever works for you. But the reasonable thing is for the borrowers to pay back the loan. But if Jasmine Crockett is trying to say that American taxpayers should absorb the burden of outstanding student loan debt, well, let me tell you, it is not going to be fair. If she wants the government to just eliminate all student loan debt and send the bill to the American taxpayers like, hey, American taxpayer, we're forgiving student loan debt, so you're going to have to pay for it. That's unfair. That is very, very unfair because you know what? A lot of people worked very hard to pay off their student loan debt. And so for them, those who have already paid off their student loan debt, to basically ask them to absorb the student loan debt of other people, that would be so unfair. And then again, there are many people who chose not to go to college so that they can avoid student loan debt. A lot of people, they graduate high school and they decide, you know what, I'm not going to go to college. I'm not going to go to university. I'm going to go work. I'm going to go work and start building my career. I'm going to go and get some training on something. So if you ask those people, if you ask someone who did not go to college, chose not to go to college because the person wants to avoid student loan debt, and that individual is working hard and building a career and saving money for the family, saving money for a down payment, and now if you ask that person to absorb the student loan debt of other people, that's going to be so unfair. So unfair. So do not burden the taxpayers by asking them to absorb the student loan debt of other people. Okay? And there's another section on Jasmine Crockett's website, and there she says that Texas has proven itself as a regressive home for voter access. What does that even mean? My friends in Texas, do you have any thoughts on that? What does Jasmine Crockett mean when she says Texas has proven itself as a regressive home for voter acts? Oh, regressive home? Really? Why? Is it just because Texas has voter ID law in place? Is that the reason why Jasmine Crockett does not like Texas? Is that the reason why Jasmine Crockett is saying that Texas has proven itself as a regressive home for voter access? Is it only because the voter ID law? Here's the thing, my friends, and you know this, but I'm still going to repeat. Democrats don't want voter ID. They don't want voter ID. The Democrats, they don't want voter ID. They want people to be able to vote without ID. And the Democrats believe that requiring voter ID is a bad policy. The Democrats believe that voter ID is regressive. The Democrats believe that voter ID means voter suppression, blah, blah, blah. It is complete nonsense. Voter ID is not a bad policy, it is a good policy. Voter ID is not voter suppression. Voter ID is law and order. Voter ID is discipline. Voter ID means election integrity. You need voter ID. I love voter ID. Okay, Sharice is asking, what is the crown number 3 next to my name for? So, Sharice, YouTube has, I don't know how they make those determinations, but YouTube is basically ranking some of the most loyal subscribers, which, I would say loyal family members of this community. So I think the more you participate in these videos and the more you comment, the more active you are. I don't know what the exact mathematics is, how they figure these out. But if you see a number 1 next to your name, it means you're like the number 1 fan or one of the few number 1 fans or whatever. Number 3 means like you're in the top 3. Okay. So you see next to Evelyn's name, it's number 1 because Evelyn has been and continues to be engaged, one of the most engaged community member here. Okay, Gianna, good to see you, Gianna. So that's how you get those, number 1, number 2, number 3. But I don't know what the exact formula is. All right, like how many comments you have to write or how many live streams or videos you have to see and for how long. I don't have the formula in front of me. Gianna, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Gianna is also from New York. Gianna, are you from Far Rockaway? Is that where you're from? Gianna, please remind me. Please remind me, Gianna. Indy fan is here. Hello, Indy. Gianna is saying yes, Far Rockaway. All right, Gianna. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. Is it Far Rockaway? If it's not, let me know. Okay. Let me know. So as I was saying, my friends, the Democrats, they don't want voter ID. But we, the American people, we, the Republicans, we believe in voter ID because we care about election integrity. And all the nonsense coming from the left, it's unbelievable. I don't understand how the Democrats oppose voter ID. Voter ID is essential. So, anyway, my friends, in conclusion, all I'm going to say is Jasmine Crockett is not the right candidate for US Senate. Okay. So if the Democrats are going to elevate Jasmine Crockett, if they're going to push Jasmine Crockett to run for Senate, we, the Republicans, we cannot afford to lose that Senate race. We just can't. We got to win. We got to win. We, the Republicans, we have to win the U.S. Senate race in Texas in 2026. Now, I don't care who the eventual primary winner is. Is it going to be Ken Paxton? Is it going to be John Cornyn? I don't know. But whoever it is, I hope that person wins the general election also, because we cannot afford to lose a U.S. Senate seat in Texas. So, my friends, I have a poll question. It is, will the Republicans be able to win in November 2026 and hold on to the U.S. Senate seat in Texas? Are you going to vote? Yes or no? I'm going to end the poll, all right? So the question is, will the Republicans be able to win in November 2026 and hold on to the U.S. Senate seat in Texas? Out of the 93 votes, 53% said yes. So there's a lot of optimism, a lot of positive thoughts that yes, the Republicans will be able to win the U.S. Senate race in Texas and hold on to the U.S. Senate seat in Texas. That's all I have, my friends. Thank you so very much for tuning in. Um, I appreciate you all being here, and please, we are getting close to 14,000 subscribers. We want to get to 20,000 subscribers, and then maybe 100,000 and beyond. All right, we're gonna get there. Things take time, but with your support, I know we can get there. So, Evelyn, great question, Evelyn. Great question. With the kind of profanity that Jasmine Crockett has used in the past, and the kind of policies that Jasmine Crockett supports, um, you know, she is she's not the right person for U.S. Senate, and also it just makes me wonder how she got elected to Congress. I mean, I wonder, how did she get elected to Congress? How did that happen? I don't know. I mean, the kind of person she is, the personality that she has, and the things that she says, have said, uh, some really unbelievable stuff. And yeah, I'm hoping and praying that the Republicans hold on to the U.S. Senate seat in Texas. And if Crockett is the candidate that the Democrats come up with, I hope Jasmine Crockett loses. All right. Thank you so very much. Thank you, my friends. I'm going to wrap up this live stream now. 1 hour, 9 minutes we spent together. Um, so thank you so very much. Thank you, my friends. Thank you. May God bless you all. May God bless President Donald J. Trump. May God bless the Trump administration. May God bless the Republican senators and congressmen in Washington. May God bless the United States of America. May God bless our U.S. allies. And may God bless freedom loving people all over the world. Thank you, my friends. I appreciate you all. Thank you for supporting the channel. Thank you for being here. And I hope to be back again soon with more videos and more live stream. And please keep liking and sharing these videos, my friends. Thank you so very much. And there's going to be a lot more to talk about in the near future, and we will discuss all that, social and political issues, both domestic and international. So thank you. Have a wonderful night, my friends, and I'm going to be back again very, very soon. Thank you.